ちのソフトは難しいよ。
テクノファンタジータイト。
Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and our continuing series on the Taito Type X2 arcade platform, and today we're taking a look at King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match. This is a pseudo-remake of King of Fighters 2002 on the Neo Geo AES and MVS, and because King of Fighters 2002 is my favorite King of Fighters game of all time, of course we're going to be talking about it here. If you do me a huge favor before we get started, go down below and hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we have a Patreon link down below in the description as well. But I love the Neo Geo, I love King of Fighters, and of course because they have a remake of 2002 on the Taito Type X2 on the NESiCAxLive variant, of course I want to talk about it. And you'll see right off the top, this has an absolutely immense roster of characters. You're going to have basically everybody you could possibly want in the King of Fighters universe right here. But you'll see right off the top, if you're at all familiar with the Neo Geo MVS or AES versions of KOF 2002, is the backgrounds are entirely different. This game has so many new backgrounds, and I think they look absolutely beautiful with the classic Neo Geo sprites in front of them. This beachfront scene with that scale up the mountain, it has a sense of depth, and then we have all these different characters in the backgrounds just kind of playing around. And this is what I love about King of Fighters 2002, and don't get me wrong, the backgrounds in the original game were no slouches whatsoever. I know I say I like 2002 more than 98 because they were both 3 matches and most people like 98 more, but this to me is just a perfect version of the game. Now of course it's available on plenty of other platforms, you don't need a Type X2 arcade board to play it, but for me this is how I love playing it, especially if I have friends over that are interested in fighting games, because it's the original arcade experience. And again, just moving on to this downtown city scene with the concert hall in the background, SNK just makes amazing 2D artwork, and the developers they had to port 2002 into a new version did a spectacular job as well. It's so hard to not just want to look at the backgrounds in this game, but we should really talk about the mechanics. If you've played King of Fighters before, you're going to feel very much at home when you're playing Unlimited Match. There is very little to no difference as far as the mechanics are concerned. And you'll see here that, you know, I'm playing relatively decently, and that's because I just haven't played 2002 for a while, because they did vary the mechanics up across different releases. But if you're familiar with the franchise, this is definitely a pick up and play game, and I love that they didn't force the aspect ratio to 16:9. I like that it conforms to the classic 4:3 aspect ratio of the Neo Geo AES and MVS, and I will in a moment show you what the old version looked like, because it is both similar and different. Moving over to KOF 2002, and I do own an original AES cartridge for this. I actually have the whole full set of King of Fighters games on the Neo Geo. This looks great as well. They've done an amazing job of taking King of Fighters from the Neo Geo and bringing it back over to a more modern platform and allowing you to play it and enjoy it, and I just love it immensely. But I can't get over how good of a remake this is, because King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match is available on the Type X2 as well, but that doesn't do as much with the game. It kind of has a lot of the same backgrounds, it adds some new characters, but if you're going to play one of the 2 remakes of a dream match, 2002 is 100% where I'm going to say you want to spend your time, because it is just what I wish all remakes or remasters of games were. It takes the core game and it improves on it in every single way. Visually, modernizes it, balances the characters out a little bit more. This is what you want when a company is going to remake a beloved game or re-release it with enhancements. But it also has some new musical tracks as well that I absolutely love. So go ahead and listen for like 35-45 seconds, and I'll come back and tell you more about why KOF 2002 Unlimited Match is my favorite KOF ever. Enjoy! I just love the new tracks for KOF 2002, and they match the backgrounds perfectly. And like I said earlier, the original AES and MVS release was no slouch when it came to the soundtrack, but this is just classic KOF. And the gameplay stands up to that. All the different counters, all the different avoidance techniques, the specials, the combos, it's exactly like what you would expect when you're playing KOF 2002. And that's why the King of Fighters has always been my favorite fighting game franchise. And when I review Street Fighter games, I always say I never really click with them, and that's because King of Fighters is the franchise I have played the most. So therefore, I am the most comfortable with it. I'm able to usually get to the boss character on 1 to 2 credits, usually 1 if I'm playing well that day, and you will see the boss shortly because in classic SNK fashion, it is almost impossible to beat him unless you're having what I call a really good day that day. But again, this is just so much fun. If you've never played a King of Fighters game, I might suggest you actually start with 2002 Unlimited Match because you get the flavor of the classic King of Fighters formula, but you get it in a more modern package. Because you can totally still play all the original Neo Geo games, and they are all still spectacular. But if you can play 2002 Unlimited Match well, you can play any King of Fighters game ever made well, including the most recent ones to come out this year. And that's what I love about the franchise so much, is it's always iterating on the formula, but it never changes so much that you feel like you can't just pick up and play the next game in the series. Some minor things might change, but for the most part, you're going to be really familiar with it. I just love this stage again, the sense of depth in this Coliseum. It is just such a fun game. But they didn't just add new backgrounds and new musical tracks as well. You also get new bits of story mode in the game. You're going to see here comes a new challenge, or something that does happen in older Neo Geo games. But they've created entirely new art for this. And of course, this wasn't originally for the Type X2 and the NESiCALive platform. It's something that was brought over. And that's the fun thing about the Type X2 in general, is it doesn't just have brand new games made for it. It has older games that are re-released with slight enhancements that you're able to play online if you have the server connection, which of course I don't, because it's just a board that is not in an arcade operator system. But it's just so much fun, and I love this match against Foxy here. It actually seems easier than I remember it being last time I played, or maybe I was just having a really good day that day. But again, brand new musical soundtrack, so go ahead and listen to one new track for like 30 seconds, and I'll come back and finish up the video and tell you why, if you've never played this game before, you owe it to yourself to check it out. But enjoy, again. It's a great new track with a great new background. I'm not sure if you noticed or not, but some of the characters from Metal Slug are hiding behind some pillars as well. The developers of this game added so many fun touches from SNK's history that it's kind of, it makes you want to look at the background and actually pay attention to your fight, because you'll see the Slug characters right there cheering you on. It's one of those things, they filled this game with absolutely so much detail. You could tell that when they were remastering or remaking, or whatever adjective you want to use to describe this game, King of Fighters 2002, they really threw everything and the kitchen sink in to make fans happy. And because I am such a big fan of King of Fighters, that's why I am so happy playing this game, because it's got nods to different franchises and different Easter eggs in the background that really make you want to ignore the fight completely and see what's going on in the background, which is both a good thing from a fan perspective and a bad thing from a trying to beat the opponent next to your perspective. But again, moving on to the final stage, all this incredible new art that they added in for Unlimited Match, I just love it. It gives the game a little bit more flair and a little bit more fun involvement. But again, it's a King of Fighters game with a final boss, so you know it is absolutely going to destroy you like it's its job. Trying to kill Chrysalid here, I think that's how his name is pronounced. If it's wrong, leave me a comment down below. Probably 9 out of 10 times I can't do it on the first round. I tried 5 rounds here during the capture, and it just was not my day. But that is not at all weird for a SNK fighting game. The last boss has to be basically invincible, and you're never going to get his life down far enough so that he doesn't recover almost all of it in between rounds. But yeah, that's King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match. It's available on more platforms than just the Type X2, but this is my preferred way to play. And if you've never played any 2D King of Fighters game before, start with this one because trust me, you're going to love it. But leave me a comment down below. Do you play KOF? If you played this, do you have an X2 underneath your desk like I do? I'll have videos throughout the week and more X2 next week, but see you next time. Bye-bye.